The movie's narrative is centered around a man named Go, who is endowed with an extraordinary mathematical genius. He shares his living environment with his neighbor, Sun, and her young niece, Na. Go earns his living as a mathematics teacher, while Sun works at a local food shop. They both reside in the same apartment complex, adding a layer of familiarity to their daily interactions. Every morning, as part of his routine, Go stops by Sun's shop to purchase food on his way to work. Despite being a genius, Go is characteristically introverted and shy. He harbors feelings for Sun, but is too timid to express them. Instead, he often finds himself observing her with a sense of curiosity and longing. His genius extends beyond his personal life, making him a highly focused and dedicated math teacher. However, their seemingly ordinary lives take a dramatic turn one night when an unexpected incident occurs. Sun receives a visit from her estranged husband, Min, who had been searching for her. It is revealed that Sun had been trying to distance herself from Min due to his abusive behavior, and she had been hiding from him for some time. Min forcefully enters Sun's home, physically abuses her, and subjects her to emotional torment. Meanwhile, Na is in her room, engrossed in her studies. The situation escalates when Min attempts to sexually assault Sun. Na intervenes, managing to knock Min down momentarily. However, Min quickly recovers and retaliates by attacking both of them. In the ensuing struggle, Sun manages to grab an iron cable and strangle Min, resulting in his death. In the aftermath of the incident, a panicked Sun contemplates reporting the incident to the police. Go, who had overheard the commotion from his adjacent apartment, arrives to offer his assistance. Initially, Sun denies that anything is amiss. However, Go, having deduced what transpired, insists on helping her. Overwhelmed and desperate, Sun relents and allows Go into her apartment. Upon seeing Min's lifeless body, Go assures Sun, "I will help you, as long as you believe in me and follow my instructions." This marks the beginning of a meticulously planned cover-up. The following day, a male corpse is discovered in a pitiful state, having suffocated to death. The body's facial features and fingerprints are unrecognizable due to extensive damage. At the crime scene, Detective Min discovers a deflated bicycle tire and a set of apartment keys. Following these leads, he identifies the deceased as Min. Detective Min then visits Sun's residence, as it is revealed that she is Min's wife. Upon his arrival, Sun is visibly shaken and nervous. Detective Min questions her about Min and her visibly trembling hands. Sun denies any knowledge of the incident and attributes her shaking hands to a sprain she sustained at work. Later that night, Go contacts Sun and guides her on how to handle the situation. As expected, Detective Min returns to question Sun about her whereabouts on the night of the 9th, the date of Min's death. Sun maintains that she and Yuna were at the cinema that night. When asked to produce the movie ticket as proof, Sun initially claims that she lost it. However, she later retrieves it from a discarded movie poster. Convinced of her innocence, Detective Min and his colleagues leave, but they continue to surveil the apartment from a distance. They observe Go entering the apartment, prompting him to warn Sun about the ongoing surveillance. Detective Min and his partner subsequently visit Go. It is revealed that Go and Detective Min were former schoolmates, and Go was known as Maniac Pythagoras due to his mathematical prowess. The detectives then visit the theater to verify Sun's alibi by checking the CCTV footage. Their investigation confirms that Sun and Yuna were indeed at the theater on the night of the 9th. The following night, a distressed Sun contacts Go, informing him of an upcoming lie detector test. She is terrified that the police are still suspicious of her and is under immense stress. Go reassures her, urging her to trust him completely as he promises to protect her. The lie detector test is conducted the next day. Sun, fraught with anxiety and fear, answers all the examiner's questions. The examiner inquires about all the events that transpired on the night of the 9th, but the detector does not register any lies. Just as the examiners are about to conclude the test, Detective Min intervenes with one final question. Did you kill Min? The detector indicates a lie, but the examiner promptly ends the session. Hua Sun is subsequently acquitted of all charges. Following her acquittal, Hua Sun returns home and meets Solgo. She expresses her profound gratitude to Solgo for his unwavering support, which allowed her to regain her composure and resume her life with Yuna. Their lives gradually return to normalcy. The next day, Solgo resumes his work routine and stops by Hua Sun's shop to buy food. This time, Hua Sun gives Solgo a special gift. Upon reaching school, Solgo opens it to find a scarf and a note expressing her gratitude for his help. Later, Hua Sun encounters an old acquaintance from before she moved. His name is Li, and it appears that he harbors feelings for Hua Sun. However, Hua Sun asks him not to visit her again as she is uncomfortable with Solgo's presence. It becomes evident that Solgo also has feelings for Hua Sun. One rainy day, Li offers to drive Hua Sun home and encounters Solgo there. Following this, Solgo contacts Hua Sun to inquire about her well-being and the identity of this man. Hua Sun explains that Li is a friend from before she moved and that he often helps her out. Solgo returns to his apartment but is visited by Detective Cholmin, who happens to be an old friend. Detective Cholmin is welcomed in and they reminisce about the past until he falls asleep. Upon waking up, Detective Cholmin notices a book titled Perfect Number. He casually flips it open and discovers a piece of paper that resembles a thank you card. However, he quickly closes it upon receiving a phone call. Detective Cholmin then notices food wrapper from Hua Sun's shop in the kitchen before leaving. Solgo simultaneously leaves for work. Detectives Cholmin and Solgo stop by Hua Sun's shop as usual to order breakfast. During this visit, Cholmin asks for a piece of paper. The paper matches the one found in Solgo's book. At the same time, Li arrives at the shop. Solgo asks Detective Cholmin to leave immediately. Subsequently, Solgo is seen diving at the bottom of a pool, like a professional diver, possibly as a means to hone his genius or for some other unknown reason. Later, Solgo is seen burning something. It turns out to be the scarf gifted by Hua Sun. Detective Cholmin and his team of dedicated colleagues were relentless in their pursuit of justice for Cholmin's untimely death. Their investigation led them to Li, a potential suspect. However, after thorough interrogation, it was clear that Li had no involvement in Cholmin's case. The detectives then shifted their focus to Solgo, who was at his place of work, a school where he taught mathematics. At the time of their arrival, Solgo was wrapping up a class with his students. Detective Cholmin greeted him warmly and took the opportunity to engage one of the students in conversation. He was curious to know how the students perceived their teacher, who is known as Pythagoras Maniac due to his exceptional mathematical abilities. The student responded, "The teacher's math problems are full of puzzles. Sometimes they look like geometry but are actually functions, and they have empty spaces that can trick someone." Detective Cholmin then turns his attention back to Solgo. He mentioned that he had heard from the school principal that Solgo had been absent from school for 2 consecutive days, specifically the 9th and the 10th. This was unusual, as Solgo was known for his dedication and rarely missed a day of work. However, before Solgo could respond, the class bell rang, signaling the end of the school day. Solgo used this as an opportunity to avoid answering the question and quickly retreated into his classroom. In his mind, Solgo couldn't help but wonder if his friend had stumbled upon a clue related to Cholmin's case. That night, Hua Sun returned home to find Solgo already in her apartment, busily repairing the drains. She was taken aback by Solgo's recent behavior, which was reminiscent of a stalker who kept a close watch on her and freely roamed around her house. Meanwhile, Detective Cholmin was conducting his own investigation, using the information he had gathered from the students' words as a starting point. He hurriedly went to Cholmin's apartment and spoke with the guard. The guard explained that at the time of Cholmin's disappearance, there was only an empty bowl in his room, and he hadn't seen Cholmin since before the 9th. However, he did recall that on the 8th, Cholmin had called and ordered food. Armed with this new piece of information, Detective Cholmin went to the city hall, a place that Solgo often frequented. Upon inspecting the gland tent, he discovered a food pot that had been abandoned since roughly the 8th. This shocking revelation led Detective Cholmin to believe that his friend Solgo had strong motives in the Hua Sun case and had also committed murder. The following day, Detective Cholmin confronted Solgo. He questioned why Sol-go felt such a strong sense of sympathy for Hwa-soon and what had transpired between them. He even asked him directly if he had killed anyone and was afraid to admit it. However, Sol-go simply smiled and responded, "Even if you have found the truth, it won't change everything for the better." With that, Sol-go left, feeling that he couldn't back down from his plans. He then approached Lee as if he had intentions to harm him. The detectives discovered him, and the police promptly arrested Sol-go. Upon hearing the news, Detective Cho-min rushed to the office. Simultaneously, Sol-go's apartment was swarming with police officers searching for evidence. Detective Cho-min was taken aback when Sol-go confessed to everything, admitting that he had killed Cho-min. Detective Cho-min immediately intervened, urging Sol-go to stop playing games. He was adamant that Sol-go hadn't actually killed Cho-min. He stated, "As long as logic fits, Sol can be a brutal man when he decides to protect someone precious." However, Sol-go simply replied, "When I have acknowledged and accepted the court's decision, this case will end." Cho-min then asked his old friend why he had allowed himself to be caught and why he had wasted his genius brain. The next day, Detective Cho-min met with Hwa-soon, who expressed her desire to go to the police station to admit that she had actually killed Cho-min. She also delivered a letter from Sol-go's last request. Detective Cho-min explained that she was not entirely at fault because she had merely followed Sol-go's instructions and orders. He told her that she had passed the lie detector test because the murders had taken place on the night of November 8th, not the 9th. Sol-go had killed a homeless man on the 9th, a vagrant, to trick everyone into thinking that the body suspected of being Cho-min was indeed killed on the 9th. Perhaps Cho-min's real body was still hidden somewhere under the ocean. He further expressed, the one who wanted to be fooled the most was her, Miss Hwa-soon, to protect her to the end. That's why he continued to follow her, even though he seemed like a bad person and controlled everything. From the start, he had planned to endure all those accusations. After revealing the final truth, Detective Cho-min left Hwa-soon shortly. When Hwa-soon left the place, she opened the letter. Sol-go wrote stating that he would like to thank her for making him move on in life. He says he believed math was everything there is in life, but when he no longer found answers or solutions, pleasure turned into despair. It was then that he realized there are things as beautiful as math is. He means her, and points out that she, however, must forget everything about him. He says Lee seems like someone who deserved to make her happy, and that he hopes she will find love and happiness with him. But he says, if you're not happy, everything I did will be meaningless. Just then, Hwa-soon's tears fell, and she returned to the police station, running to see him in person. However, Sol-go was about to be taken away. Hwa-soon kept crying, wanting to meet Sol-go, while apologizing and regretting knowing nothing about Sol-go and never asking him about his story. She said, "You're the reason I'm still here." But Sol-go left with the other suspects, leaving Hwa-soon crying as he was taken away with other prisoners. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.